Good morning. Unbuckling regulations. The government unveils a plan allowing major property development, including commercial facilities and factories, to be built in areas that were bound by greenbelt restrictions. A suspected gas explosion brings down 2 buildings in East Harlem, New York, killing at least 2 and injuring over 20. Hundreds of firefighters are at the scene in what's expected to be an extended operation. The city of the future, here in the present. Get a look at the Songdo International Business District in Incheon, which is fast becoming the hotspot tourist destination. And it's almost time to closet the winter gear, but keep those light scarves handy. Our new guest, Jennifer Kim, has some tips on Korea Today, Thursday, March 13th, 2014.
From Arirang News, this is Korea Today.
And good morning, and thank you for joining us on Korea Today. I'm Kim Young alongside Kim Min-jung and Oh Jin-ju.
One of the biggest stories that have been making headlines around the world overnight is possibly the deadly explosion in Manhattan, New York.
That's right. What a frightening moment. The U.S. National Transportation Safety Board is sending a team to investigate, but at this point, a gas leak is most likely to blame. Look at that. It just harkens back to the 9/11 terrorist attack. What a frightening moment for them.
Yes, residents they said that witnesses were saying that it seemed like it was an earthquake or another bomb that they thought was blown up.
I'm sure Eunice Kim will fill us in on the details later on in the show, but we will start with domestic headlines we're following this morning. The Korean government has unveiled a set of deregulation measures aimed at boosting the regional economy after an investment at regional development meeting presided over by President Park Geun-hye on Wednesday. The government rolled out a plan to allow commercial facilities and factories to be built in areas that were once bound by greenbelt development restrictions. Until now, only residential facilities are allowed in roughly 106 square kilometers of former greenbelt zones across the country. The latest measures would allow construction of high-rise buildings, large retailers, hotels, and factories in areas including Kimhae International Airport and Changwon. Seoul will also help each local government develop a specialized sector such as the film and video industry for the port city of Busan and the cultural content industry for the southwestern city of Gwangju. The measures are expected to generate some 14 trillion won, or about $13 billion worth of investments in provincial regions.
And on Wednesday, vice foreign ministers from Seoul and Tokyo made little progress in their first high-level meeting since Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe's controversial visit to the Yasukuni Shrine. During the meeting, South Korean Vice Foreign Minister Cho Tae-yong emphasized that Japan should refrain from continuing its historical distortion and restore trust by working toward resolving the unsettled issue of its wartime sexual slavery, while Japanese Vice Foreign Minister Akitaka Saiki said his government maintains the historical perception of its previous administrations. Seoul feels Tokyo has never officially compensated the victims, while Japanese politicians consistently make controversial comments regarding the issue. Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe is reportedly pushing to hold his first summit with President Park Geun-hye, who says she has no plans to sit and talk with a leader who will not acknowledge his country's historical wrongdoings.
And some mixed numbers on the job front. The number of people with jobs has risen in the month of February from last year, but the unemployment rate also went up 0.5% to 4.5%. Figures by Statistics Korea show the number of those employed as of last month posted 24.8 million. That's up by 835,000, the biggest year-on-year increase in 12 years. Especially worth noting is that the number of youth employment for those aged between 15 and 29 went up by 148,000, the highest jump since the year 2000. However, the unemployment rate for the same age bracket shot up to 10.9% to reach the highest since 2000. Experts attribute this to the increase in the number of college graduates around February searching for work ahead of the recruitment season.
A series of unrelated stories dominate the headlines in recent weeks, but there's one thing that ties them together. It's the idea of people taking their own lives as a way out of their problems. Our producer, Lee Ji-yeon, takes a look at how the country is battling this issue and what more can be done.
A friendly knock on the door, reaching out to the elderly in the neighborhood to let them know help is nearby. This outreach is part of an ambitious campaign launched by the Songbukgu District Office, which has taken on the challenge of creating a zero-suicide neighborhood. As a symbol of awareness, volunteers wear yellow ribbons carrying the message, "Love your life." They distribute flyers, pay visits, and make phone calls to those in need, more specifically, those classified as having high-risk potential for suicides.
동네를 가장 잘 알고
We believe it's important to have people who know the area and their neighbors so that they can create a strong community. This is one of the most important tasks in preventing suicides, especially in large cities.
By using this web of community members, Songbukgu District, which had the 5th largest number of suicides in Seoul back in 2010, brought that down to 20th in the course of 2 years. They believe letting people know where to look for help so they can receive the welfare benefits they need is key. It's to make sure people don't fall through the cracks and choose a deadly way out, just as a family of 3 did 3 weeks ago. It's a story that received extensive media attention and raised questions about the country's welfare system. Following this tragedy were 2 other high-profile stories involving the death of a reality show contestant and another attempted suicide by a key character in an investigation. All completely unrelated cases with very different reasons. But the stream of stories highlights the darker challenge Korea has been facing over the years.
많이 힘들어. 많이 힘들어?
The country for 8 years in a row has held the unwanted title of having the highest suicide rate among developed countries, according to the OECD. And to combat these numbers comes a variety of measures. Public campaigns, 24-hour hotlines, counseling centers, and messages of encouragement are all methods to get people to give life one more chance. Experts say what's also important is breaking the stigma against receiving psychiatric treatment so they can have timely access to medical assistance.
The welfare system acts as a safety net, and having a good one can help prevent suicides by improving people's livelihoods and giving them more job opportunities. But people with high-risk potential for suicides often have mental illnesses, so providing them with appropriate medical treatment is a cost-effective prevention method.
This method, too, though, requires more help from the public so that signs of distress and loneliness do not go unnoticed. Lee Ji-yeon for Korea Today.
And to take a closer look into the cause behind the rising number of people taking their own lives and possible prevention measures, we're now joined by Dr. Kim Hyun-jung at the National Medical Center. Welcome to the program.
Good morning.
Now, latest figures released by the OECD shows that Korea has the highest suicide rate among the OECD member nations. Now, what are some of the main factors behind this?
That's a really difficult question to answer right off because suicide is, some say, a social epidemic. So any problems, any causes in our society today could be a reason to, or causes to suicide. And, but some of the things that are really affecting is, first of all, the media and how they portray people who commit suicide or celebrities who commit suicide. It's sort of portrayed as a way out, a solution, or something that they use to make political assumptions. And that's one of the big reasons, I think. And another thing is that those reports with too much detail on how and when they committed suicide, those detailed information are on the internet, and we do have a strong IT and SNS, and it's regenerated and augmented over and over, so it really acts as a negative catalyst. And people who are healthy aren't really affected by these reports, but who are under recent loss or anger or hostility or depressed people who are suffering or have ideas of suicide will look into it and will be affected by those reports. And another part is that traditionally we do have a Buddhism culture in our culture, and it sort of has a permissive atmosphere, like we believed in reincarnation, and it wasn't so much of a crime to commit suicide if you have shamed your family or yourself. And that's what differentiates from the countries with Catholic backgrounds or Christianity backgrounds. And those are some of the big differences. And another part is people do feel that this is an excuse to a solution, a way out. And like I said, there is a permissive atmosphere around this nation, and people sort of relate to the people who commit suicide. And also, before we did have extended families and lots of social support, but now it's nuclear families. And
so the media and the cultural background are some of the main factors that we're seeing high suicide rates here in Korea. And now prevention is the most important part. What are some of the government measures that need to be put in place to prevent such many people committing suicide?
Well, they started taking interest not so far ago, 2011, and they started funding just a little bit since then. And the funding is increasing, but compared to Japan, it's 100 times less. So that's unfortunate, and I wish the government does take a bigger role, because this is a social epidemic and it needs to be dealt with in a social environment where everyone's interested. And yeah.
And as an advisor of the Suicide Prevention Center, tell us more about the programs or activities that your center offers and how people can get help from the center.
We do have a cyber what would you say? Website, and people can go online and ask questions, ask for help. We do have yearly conferences in September for suicide prevention, and people come to be educated or to have more awareness of suicide prevention. And we do distribute storage boxes for pesticides in rural areas so that they're not exposed to just taking their own lives with pesticides.
So if we see a friend or a close person that is on the verge to make a drastic choice, how can we help these people?
Well, suicide is preventable, so you have to keep that in mind and don't just brush away, because it's a really big subject to deal with, especially if it's a loved one who's talking about they're having their difficulty. So just listen without any interventions, just listen through, sort of empathize with what they're going through, and in the end you should actually hold their hands and say, let's get help, see a professional, visit a doctor nearby.
So standing by their side and listening to what they have to say is the best measure to prevent those to make such drastic choices. Okay, thank you, Dr. Kim, for your insight today.
Thank you for having me.
Good morning. Let's run through the front pages of your newspapers now. And many of our top pages this morning are showcasing images of the New York City gas explosion that caused two buildings to collapse. But we will look closely at that matter with Eunice Kim later in international news. So let's go over onto Joseon-ilbo now for a look at this story here. The headline reads, Japan proposes Korea-US-Japan summit, but the Korean government says Japan must correct its perception of history first. Now the story is Tokyo is proposing summit talks between the leaders of Korea, the U.S. and Japan, and this apparently was reported by Asahi Shimbun yesterday. And Asahi Shimbun said that the Japanese government is seeking to hold a summit talk between the three countries during the Nuclear Security Summit, which is to be held on the 24th to the 25th this month over in The Hague, Netherlands. Now, the interesting thing is that the Japanese government went against Asahi Shimbun's report, Japanese Vice Foreign Minister, in fact, Akitaka Saiki, told his Korean counterpart Jo Tae-yong during yesterday's meeting at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs in Seoul that what had been reported was, in fact, not true. He was a bit flustered and taken aback by such a report, which made it seem like his visit itself was for the pursuit and realization of such a summit talk. Now, in the meantime, the Korean government said that it is not opposed to these sort of talks, but first, a correct perception of history will be the foundation of relations between Korea and Japan. And now let's go on over to 동아일보 for a look at a different story here. Staying with Japan, actually it's been cut off on this image, but looking at closely, the title reads, Korean dramas to disappear from Japanese TV broadcasts. So in a recent notification on the homepage of Tokyo Broadcasting System, or TBS's Hallyu Select, it stated that Korean dramas will no longer be televised starting the 14th. Now, Hallyu Select is a special program that kickstarted back in 2010, which airs Korean soap operas on a daily basis during the week from 10 to 11 a.m. Now, with this news by TBS, the 5 major national broadcasting companies of Japan will not be airing Korean dramas, which is a first since 4 years ago. The paper goes on to say that perhaps it's the worsening ties between Korea and Japan that has created such a situation. And let's go on over to 중앙일보 now for a look at this headline. And the headline reads, the answer to the mismatch of landing jobs is hidden champions. Now, the subheadlines say that 66% of university graduates want to land jobs at big conglomerates, but only 10% of them actually make it in. And thus, the rest of the 90% of the jobs need to be found in the hidden champions, meaning the smaller, somewhat hidden companies that are still successful, which are indeed good places to start your career at as well. And now going over on to Gyeongyang Shinmun for a look at the espionage case that we took a look at yesterday too. The latest here, the title reads, Prosecution Lied to Court Regarding the Espionage Case. It turns out that the prosecution in fact lied to the court several times regarding how and where they got the fabricated records of Yoo Sung, the North Korean defector involved in the case. In fact, Yoo flatly denied the charges against him yesterday, saying the prosecution should take responsibility for submitting a fake document to the court in a bid to have him framed. So certainly that's some embarrassing, grim news regarding the prosecution here. And finally, let's go to the Korea Economic Daily quickly. The Daily these days has been focusing a lot on regulation-related stories. Now, this story gives a rundown of how a lot of companies are suffering from the government saying 2 different things at once. Now, the title says just that, one government with 2 voices, suffering enterprises. Various companies are finding it ironic that the government says it will help support, for instance, the Korea Forest Service in building wind power plants, but at the same time, it's also screaming out easing of all sorts of other business-related regulations. So what is the deal? They seem pretty frustrated. And that was a look at your newspaper headlines for Thursday. And coming up are the stock numbers from Wednesday.
The morning lows are definitely milder these days, so maybe a thick jacket will do for this morning.
Exactly. I think we can call this weather sweater weather
That's
so
right.
far, what we're going to expect today. And later on our program, we're also going to take a look at some light scarves that you can wear as well. So this is the perfect weather for it.
That's right. And let's get a closer look at the weather picture with Chun Song-cho, who's standing outdoors. Good morning, Song-cho.
And look at that scarf that she has.
Good morning, everyone. Today I'm reporting live in Seocho-gu, Seoul. It is 7 degrees Celsius here, and it's a lot chillier than you would think because the strong winds are blowing. As you can see, a thick blanket of clouds that brought us some rain yesterday is also lingering in the skies here and across the nation. But didn't you just love the rain yesterday? Though it was just a few sprinkles, the air feels a lot more moist now, and we think we definitely needed it. And, Mother Nature seemed to enjoy it even more, really drinking up that rain as much as possible. And some early spring flowers like cherry blossoms and magnolias have also bloomed here and there, It's a prelude of beautiful spring weather conditions approaching as we get further into this week. But don't forget that it's really easy to catch a cold during the change of seasons. In times like this, wearing a scarf is a must. And if you want to learn more creative and interesting ways to wear your scarf than I am right now, then please stay tuned for our fashion segment with Jennifer Kim later in the show. But for now, let's go ahead and take a look at the temperatures around the peninsula. Seoul, Daegu, Jeju, and Daejeon's highs are the warmest at 9, Gwangju and Busan at 8, and Gangneung the coolest at 3 degrees. That's all I have for the weather forecast. I'm Chun Song-cho, Korea Today.
Now, we mentioned briefly at the top of the hour, we'll get a closer look at the deadly explosion that leveled 2 buildings in East Harlem in New York City. Eunice Kim is standing by with the latest at the news center. Good morning, Eunice. It's still a mess out there, isn't it?
That's right, Min-jung. Good morning. So far, at least 2 women are reported to have died in that blast and at least 52 others injured. Authorities do suspect it was a gas leak that led to the explosion based on testimony from nearby residents who said they smelled gas some 15 minutes before. Now, scores of firefighters are still picking through the rubble for more victims feared trapped inside the debris. The neighborhood was once the heart of New York's large Puerto Rico community, and Mayor Bill de Blasio, who rushed to the scene, told reporters it was a tragedy of the worst kind because there was no indication in time to save people.
Hopefully the number of casualties won't go up anymore. Let's now turn to Ukraine next. We talked about the plan by the interim president of Ukraine to create a new national guard, but it seems that he doesn't intend to use force against Crimea.
Right. As Russian and pro-Russian forces appear to be tightening their grip on the Crimea, Kiev's government has stationed troops along the border, but Ukraine's acting president Alexander Turchinov said his country would not use its army to stop Crimea from seceding yesterday, saying that a military operation in the Crimea would expose the country's eastern border to Russia and some of those communities in the eastern border friendly to Russia. Meanwhile, that referendum is now just 3 days away, and G7 nations have said they would not recognize the outcome. Sanctions are also in the works as Ukraine's Prime Minister Arseniy Yatsenyuk is engaged in a last-ditch call for help. He met with U.S. President Barack Obama this morning, Korea time, and is due to address the UN Security Council on Thursday.
Some diplomatic efforts there. Now, in the meantime, UN Secretary General Ban Ki-moon made some remarks regarding Syria, calling it the biggest humanitarian and security crisis facing the world today.
Yes, and his comments did come as the Syrian civil war entered its 4th year on Wednesday. The Secretary General also acknowledged Syria's neighbors, who he said were shouldering the increasingly unbearable effects of war. In a statement, he directly urged Russia and the United States to take clear steps to re-energize peace talks as the initiating states of the Geneva Conference on Syria. And, the conflicts have claimed more than 140,000 lives since March 2011, when the uprisings began against President Bashar al-Assad. Now that's your look at some of the international stories we're following this morning.
And still to come on Korea Today, the city of tomorrow here today. Songdo is turning into a rising tourist spot. Join us as we walk through the Songdo Miraegil and star in our own drama. Next up on Korea Discovered, we uncover everything about Songdo.
And heading into the week's end, you might be wondering what to do. But if you are here in Korea, we have news updates on some new musicals that you might want to catch. And Im Yoon-hee joins us for our arts and culture segment with those. Good morning, Yoon-hee.
Good morning. So Korea has an expansive selection of musicals, as you're probably well aware of. And I am such a big fan. And so here are two musicals that are expected to do quite well this season. Let's take a look. Vincent van Gogh, a legendary artist of legendary works. Using technology and music, a new means of enjoying Van Gogh's works is now available. This musical illustrates the passions of the artist's life while bringing over 800 of his pictures to the stage. His most famous works, such as Starry Night and Starry Night over Rhone, set the backdrop for the stage, and the actors play out the life of one of the most influential painters of all time.
We want to show his personality and the circumstances of his life through each of Van Gogh's pictures. His experiences shape each work, and we want to engage the audience in this way.
Another legendary character back on the musical stage is Sherlock Holmes. After sweeping through the nation through books and TV shows, the sharp-eyed detective is back in his role on the musical stage. In 2011, Sherlock identified the culprit in The Secret of the Anderson Family. And now comes part 2, where Sherlock hits rock bottom, but manages to still find his way back to the truth.
The first season, Sherlock Holmes showed you an eccentric character, but also named the culprit to the crime. Now it's about stopping the culprit from killing again.
Oh, that's great. A Sherlock Holmes spin-off as well as a musical that's based on Van Gogh. Now, these are original musicals, and Korea has been displaying a lot of musicals that are original.
Yeah, so Korea does have a very big homegrown musical industry, but they do make efforts to bring in performances from other countries as well. And so the National Theatre Live is a company that broadcasts plays performed by the National Theatre of Great Britain. And they've collaborated with the National Theatre of Korea to bring in some of their award-winning performances.
Now, these performances that are actually aired, right, broadcast. I did take a sneak peek earlier, and one of them is War Horse. And I did see the movie Steven Spielberg's War Horse.
Yes, so this story is about Albert and his horse Joey. And the Steven Spielberg movie is actually based on this play, and I'm sure you know the plot line. But in my opinion, the play is much more exciting because there are huge life-size puppets made by the South Africa's Handspring Puppet Company. And so this production of War Horse has won many awards from all over the world.
You know, the thing is that plays and musicals, you wonder how they're going to bring some of the special effects and the animal actors to the stage, but they always have some kind of a way of really blowing the audience away with like puppets. Life-size puppets and such, right? But now, I think no matter how much you see the broadcast, the thing is that watching the play live is the best thing to do, but you can't go over there to watch it.
You could, but it'd be a little bit difficult. But they want to share these performances with people, but the cost of transportation, the cost of producing in a different country can get up there. And so in order to still share their productions with people from all over the world, they created this program so that they can broadcast their performances with
so
others.
If you can't get it live, then get it on TV,
This is as good as it's going to get, yes.
All right. Well, until it comes into Korea.
Exactly.
All right, well, Yoon-hee, thank you very much for joining us today.
My pleasure.
And still ahead on Korea Today, we did mention that spring is pretty much here and temperatures are letting up. It's time to put that the heavy coats away, but at the same time, you might want to keep those scarves because they can provide a pretty good fashion addition to your look. That's coming up with video blogger Jennifer Kim on Korea Today.
Now, new footage of Korean independence fighter Ahn Jun-geun is one of the key words in today's news sum up this morning.
However, the whereabouts of this historic clip is yet unknown. For more on this and others, Kwan Lina joins us from the digital room. Good morning, Lina.
Good morning.
Good morning to you both. Yes, that is one of the hottest items I'll be talking about. In fact, it was the hottest search word that came up all throughout yesterday. Before we get to that, I'll get to the latest update as of 7 a.m. this morning. Barcelona beat Manchester City 2-1 at the Champions League game. Meanwhile, girls' generation, Yeaterday is topping the charts once again. Because why? They made an appearance on a TV program, or rather a late-night TV program titled Radio Star. They talked about their relationship status, weight gain, weight loss. If you missed it, you can find it online. Now back to the most pressing story of the hour. As of 2 p.m. yesterday, this was one of the most talked about items. Footage on independent fighter Ahn Jun-geun was not just found, but it kind of seemingly emerged out of nowhere. Here's the backstory. It's been reported that there's a film footage of the Korean independence activist and noted patriot Ahn Jun-geun assassinating Hirobumi Ito, a four-time Prime Minister of Japan. This footage, if located, would be an invaluable historical document. Well, here's how this news story surfaced in the first place. Domestic news outlets have located two separate articles regarding the footage. The first article was written back in August of 1910. The New York Times stated that two films documenting the assassination were brought to America, then shown at Ahn's trial in Japan, and later confiscated by the Japanese government. While another article from a year earlier, December of 1909, states something a little bit different. Singapore Straits Times reported that many had flocked to purchase the two films that recount the details of the incident and was eventually sold to a Japanese buyer. Now, obviously, these stories don't really add up. We can only speculate that one of them might turn out to be false, but we might just have to wait and see. Meanwhile, all those who are supporting the legacy of Ahn Jun-geun is saying, well, we just welcome that this emerged in the first place anyway. Next stories we're going to get to, we have a lot of movie stories coming up, and that's because today marks the premiere of several Korean movies here in Korea. Monster will be revealed today, and of course, another movie that's being talked about is, excuse me, let me get to the slide. Going backwards. Oh, here we are. Transformers 4 is apparently coming to Seoul on June 26th. This is one of the most talked about items at 5 p.m. as of yesterday. And speaking of meteorites, apparently another one was found. It hasn't been confirmed whether it's real or not. It's going to take about a week until the final confirmation is made. The last piece of story we want to turn our attention to is the March mock test. What exactly is the mock test for? That's exactly what I'm going to get to. Let's direct our attention here. All right, yesterday was the D-Day for roughly 1.3 million high school students in Korea. The annual mock test for the CSAT, a standardized test accepted by Korean universities, was held nationwide at roughly 2,000 high schools. This mock test is seen as a critical measuring device for the real deal that's only 8 months away now and counting. In November, the graduating class and returning test takers will face the exam that makes or breaks a student's future in the fierce market for success. So who are these returning test takers? Well, unlike the SAT in the United States, the CSAT is only held once a year. All students have one shot at it. This means that if you don't get the satisfactory score, you wait out an entire year for another chance to take the test. So basically, students walk with their graduating class and return a year later to take the test. Now, the mock test from yesterday didn't reflect the scores of these returning test takers, so outcomes may be a little bit different come November, but we'll just have to wait and see. As far as I'm concerned, fight on for all you test takers out there. That's all from me. I'll see you back on News Sum Up tomorrow.
After Ryu Hyun-jin's successful rookie season in the majors, another pitcher has joined him, becoming the second KBO player to join the major leagues. And with Yoon Seok-min set to begin his major league career, we have SJ Lee joining us to break down the upcoming rookie season. Good morning, SJ.
Good morning. Good morning, guys. Now, believe it or not, a couple of weeks back when we're covering the Sochi Winter Games, all this actually happened. So actually, Yoon Seok-min signing with the Baltimore Orioles did get very little coverage. But of course, he did sign a 3-year deal which will pay him a little less than $5.6 million, paying him $750,000 in his first year, followed by $1.75 million and $2.4 million in the next 2 years. But he is able to get, if he's able to get 26 starts in a single season, he can actually get up to $13 million. Now, of course, this is not the kind of money that Lee Hyun-jin is getting, but still not too shabby, I would say.
Not too shabby at all. Now, he will be taking part in spring training soon.
Right.
Now, the question is, will he start in the majors right away?
Here's the thing. He just recently got the green light to get the working visa. And in fact, I had a chance to speak to his interpreter earlier this morning. He said he's on his way back from Canada getting the working visa because, you know, you need the visa actually to play because you are a professional baseball player, which means, you know, his spring training did start a little bit later than all the other players who are currently playing. But he is slated to make his first appearance on the 15th on Saturday, which means, of course, he hasn't got enough playing time for him to be quote-unquote major league ready. So unless he's absolutely lights out during the few spring training games that's left over, he won't be starting in the majors. In fact, he's going to be taking a couple of months preparing for the majors by playing in AAA minor leagues. And I think he's, you know, pretty cool with that because he has agreed to have a minor league option in his first year only. So hopefully he can get ready quickly.
Minor or major, we're both proud of him.
Right.
In any case, we're proud of him.
Exactly, exactly.
So SJ, what do you think? Will it be a successful first season for Yoon?
You know, it's always going to be a tough question, right? But of course, granted, let's say his previous shoulder injury isn't a problem, he is going to make the Baltimore Orioles starting rotation, which is great news for him. But I'm going to be a little bit pessimistic about his rookie season. And, you know, there are a few reasons. And one of the reasons why Lee Hyun-jin actually had a successful rookie season is because the National League is naturally a pitcher-friendly league with pitcher-friendly ballparks. But the American League is different, which is why former National League pitchers have had a tough time in the American League. Now, Yoon Sung-min plays for the Baltimore Orioles, who plays in the American League East, a division that's arguably the toughest division with teams like the World Series champions Boston Red Sox, the New York Yankees, and the Tampa Bay Rays. So I would have to say it's going to be pretty tough, but hopefully he can prove me wrong, like Lee Hyun-jin actually proved me wrong last year.
He proves you wrong again.
That's right.
Thank you, SJ.
My pleasure.
With the recent boom in the international cruise sector, more than 1 million tourists have disembarked these mega vessels. Incheon Port, dubbed as the rising hub of Asia, will welcome its 105th cruise ship along with 190,000 visitors. With the rising number of cruise ship tourists, more and more foreigners are turning their attention to Incheon. So today on Korea Discovered, we will check out some hot tourist spots in this port city.
On Korea Discovered today, Chung Se-mi will take us to Korea's number 2 city, Incheon, and she is joining us from over there. Good morning.
That's right. Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to Korea Discovered. Yes, so today we're going to take a look at Incheon. But before I introduce you to this dynamic port city, I want to ask you guys, have any one of you ever been on a 140,000-ton cruise ship before?
That number means nothing to me.
I've never been on one. I'm boring like that.
Well, it's on my to-do list as well. But yes, these mega vessels enter Korea through the port of the entry and Incheon port down by the southern waters of Songdo. And that is the reason why Songdo International Business District, as you could see here on the touch screen here, is becoming the next hottest up-and-coming tourist destination in Korea.
Now, we've mostly thought of Songdo as the futuristic, high-tech IT metropolis or the city of international trade and commerce.
Yeah, never imagined it as a tourist spot. So where are some of the places that foreign tourists or even us could go when we visit Songdo?
Yes, you actually made a very good point. A lot of people used to think that Incheon was just a way to get into Seoul, but with the frequent use of cruise ships, a lot more tourists are starting to tour Songdo because it only takes about half a day to spot interesting places in Songdo. So let's go ahead and tag along this trip to interesting dynamic city of Songdo.
Incheon Songdo International Business District is Korea's economic free trade region and one of Northeast Asia's major business hubs. And recently, with more cruise ships docking at Songdo's port, the city has also become a popular tourist destination. So how can tourists fully enjoy their visits to this destination? If Jeju-do is known for its Ollekil and Chirisan Mountain for its Julekil, then Incheon Songdo City has Miraegil or Mirae Trail, which make visitors feel as if they are going back to the future. Miraegil is a 4.5-kilometer walking course through the city's famous spots, Central Park and Lake. This trail is an exceptional way for people to experience Incheon's past, present, and future. Songdo's Miraegil starts at compact smart city and passes through rows of beautiful buildings, including Conventia and Tribal, with Central Park sprawling as a beautiful oasis amid the concrete jungle. Central Park, Korea's first ever seawater park, can be best enjoyed on the lake. This is where visitors can have fun and relax on board water taxis or canoes. Songdo's premium shopping town, Canal Walk, has already become a must-visit stop among cruise ship attendants and tourists. This is where visitors can find all kinds of brands and goods for up to 30 to 50% cheaper. Besides the eye-turning shopping center, it's quite an experience to check out the central waterway as well as various artworks erected along the shopping district. The grand finale of the Miraegil tour is the Incheon Bridge Observatory. Incheon Bridge is the city's 21.38-kilometer landmark and the country's longest bridge connecting Incheon International Airport and Songdo. When crossing this bridge, it feels as if you're driving on the ocean. More importantly, the bright night view of Incheon Bridge is definitely a sight not to be missed.
Walking trails like Jeju Island's Ollekil and the Chiri Mountains Julekil, I believe, are really popular. And this Miraegil sounds something new and different, a path to the future.
Yes,
right?
Yes. But the great thing about this Miraegil is that anyone is free to walk this path, and especially on Saturday. It is at 10 a.m. There's a special exploration program led by a tour guide. So he's going to be able to walk you through the interesting spots that you could visit to in Songdo, and as well, and starting May, an all-English program will be available for our foreign tourists as well.
All right, well, foreign tourists can check that out. But of course, wherever you go, we can't stop without talking a little bit about food, because the eateries are one of the more popular attractions when it comes to Korean tourist attractions as well. Now, there's an anglerfish dish called 물텀벙이 that's lined up on the streets there, right?
Yes, that's a very interesting term. Actually, there's one specific cruise station that's extremely fresh and popular this time of the season, and that is none other than blue crab. And I believe that we have a video prepared for this, actually, Songdo Blue Crab Street, where some 20 blue crab restaurants are all located. This area has a 20-year history when street vendors and small restaurants would cook and serve freshly caught blue crabs. And today, people from all over the country come here to try out the mouth-watering dishes.
And Songdo is also known for being a popular site for TV dramas.
Yes, for sure.
So tell us about that as
and
well.
with the latest K-drama.
You Who Came from the Stars? Are we talking about that again?
I have followed up with the drama. And this drama was shot in Songdo, and that's why a lot of Hallyu fans are going along to take a look at the sceneries. So let's find out a little bit more about this.
Songdo can also be spotted as the setting in the popular TV drama My Love from the Star.
내 수업 레포트는 베껴쓰기, 짝입기, 복사에 붙이기 절대 안 됩니다. 그래서 이 리포트는 빵점입니다.
Character Do Min-jun teaches at Incheon University's Songdo campus, and in class, Do Min-jun gives Chun Song-hee a F and also screams, "I love you," in front of the class. Also, Do Min-jun reveals his secret to Chun Song-hee in front of Incheon Metropolitan City Museum in Songdo. And Do Min-jun magically saves Chun Song-hee from falling off a cliff at the quarry in Yeonsu-gu, Songdo. Locations featured in Psy's Gangnam Style include Central Park's underground parking lots underneath Incheon Bridge as well as Incheon Line 1 International Free Economic Zone Station.
I was aware about Psy's music video filming in Songdo, but I never knew that the drama You Came From the Star was shot in Songdo.
Yeah,
surprising
because you're a fan of that
drama. But I didn't know.
She's heading right to Songdo today.
Yes, and the Incheon Metropolitan City actually decided to offer special travel packages just for our foreign visitors so that they could take a look at all these shooting sites for the drama.
Right, well, it looks like when you think of tourist attractions in Incheon, you think of the Incheon's Chinatown or Walmido, those areas. But it's good to see that a modern city like Songdo is becoming a popular tourist attraction as well.
That's right. Definitely. It's going to be booming with foreign tourists trying to take pictures of those TV drama
doing those poses, right?
And you'll find Jinju there as well.
Especially within 6 months, you know, Incheon Asian Games is going to take place in this city. So a lot of more foreign tourists are going to come in. So we're very much looking forward to how this city is going to boom even more.
That's right. Thank you, Semi, for this report.
Thank you.
Springtime's must-have accessory, scarves, are back. Perfect for transitional seasons with fickle temperatures, scarves are the perfect piece to transform anyone into a fashionista. Scarves, depending on their fabric, size and patterns, can be put on in all kinds of ways. Fashion's early birds have already started flaunting their scarves this spring. So let's find out how these simple and beautiful accessories can bring out new looks this season.
These days, temperatures are fluctuating day and night, and scarves can be a very useful fashion item.
Well, if you're one of those people like me who's never really worn a scarf, you probably don't know how to wear a scarf or how to utilize it to make yourself look better or to create that complete look. Now, Jennifer Lee is a video blogger from YouTube, very popular indeed. She joins us today to give us tips on scarves. Good morning.
Good morning.
Jennifer Kim, excuse me. Good morning.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody. I'm so pleased to be here and joining you along with Young and Jinju. And I'm really excited and looking forward to sharing fresh and fun Korean fashion and beauty trends here on K-Style. Well, spring has come upon us, and with it, the scarf season has also made a comeback. So I'm here today to share with you all how you can be really creative with your scarves and accessorize your outfits. And I'm not sure if you noticed, but I've actually styled my own hairdo today.
Okay. Oh, there it is.
Wow, I didn't notice it.
What do you think?
Oh, it's good on you with your long hair.
Thank you.
And then it does really put that complete look up there. You know, I thought it was actually a hairpin. What do you call it? A hairband, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, you just use a scarf.
Maybe you should try it one day, yeah?
I don't know if my hair is long enough for that. Jinju, I think that'll look good on you. It'll suit you, right?
Well, this look was popularized by Korean actress Chun Ji-hyun that you were talking about in a recent Korean drama. She had a lot of really gorgeous hairdos in this drama, and one of this hairstyle that she wore was using scarf as an accessory. So it's really, really easy. It's not very difficult at all. You just need to get a handkerchief-sized scarf, fold it into a long rectangular shape, and tie it around your head like a headband.
Okay, so that sounds simple enough. Okay, now I'm a guy. What can I do to complete this look? All right, let's say I'm just wearing a regular suit.
All right. Well, for guys, it's really up to you how you would like to tailor it, but we can use mini scarves like these right here to fashion up your business suit. But you simply need to take a handkerchief-sized scarf like so and place your hand underneath in the center and open it up like this, fold it, pinch it right there, and fold it in half. Really simple, right?
Okay.
Okay. And now if you've got your pocket open here, we can just plop it right into your business suit. And that adds a trendy little fashion statement. It shows that you've got a little bit of dress sense as well. Definitely women will be impressed with that.
It does, but unfortunately this pocket is not a real pocket. It's kind of a make-believe pocket, so I can't really put it all the way in there. But while I try to figure this out, you actually have a whole look on how to tie some of these scarves and the looks that these can represent in this next video. So we'll take a look.
That's right.
Scarves have become must-have fashion icons for spring. Aside from the traditional way of putting it around one's neck, scarves can also be used as unique fashion accessories. At times, vibrant flower-patterned scarves can replace leather straps on a watch. Once regarded as women's fashion item, scarves have slowly but surely become a beloved accessory, even for men. So how can we properly and creatively put on scarves? First, let's learn how to make use of a long scarf. Long scarves are the most used and easiest to try out different styles. What do you think about this chic and feminine look using a long scarf? Try completing your spring fashion like this. Scarves aren't just worn around the neck. These can bring out feminine styles by using them as hairbands or bandanas. Aside from being simple accessories, scarves can also be made into clothing. Not sure what to wear? Why not put on scarves transformed into different clothing pieces? Transform those everyday handbags with scarves. If you want to boast a stylish and unique look, try wrapping the purse straps with colourful, contrasting scarves. On the flip side, for a more subtle style, simply tie a scarf on one part of the handle.
In 2014, scarves with diverse colors and designs will be popular. This year, toned-down colors are expected to be hot, and if styling with these tones, it's recommended dotted design scarves also be used as fashion statements.
Scarves have undoubtedly claimed their spot as one of the most popular spring fashion items. Get those pieces out from your closets and use them as stylish additions this season.
So Jennifer, I only know how to wind it around my neck, but I don't know all the different styles that I can make with these scarves. So could you put it on me?
Okay, so going back to the traditional neck style for scarves, well, firstly, it's really important to choose the right type of scarf for your outfit. So just taking a look at Jinju here, she's wearing a really lovely semi-formal kind of outfit. So it's important to choose something that will complement your color. So why don't we choose either this one, maybe an orange tone that will complement what you're wearing today. And I'm going to show you one style to wrap this traditionally around your neck, but in a really nice way. It's really simple as well. So simply take the two ends of the scarf and you want to tie them together in a nice knot. Once you've tied it into one knot, make sure you do a double knot so that it will not come out during the day.
So we're making a big hole out of the scarf.
Yep, that's right. It doesn't matter if you've got some ends as well because that goes towards the back of your neck. So once you've got this nice loop, fold it into half till you got two loops. And with this knot facing the back of your neck, you just want to wrap it around your head. Put it over your head. That's right. All right, and then we've got our nice eternity scarf. Nice and warm, and plus you don't have to touch it for adjustments throughout the day.
It's really warm now, but it's
Well, it really
covering
does.
my mic.
It was really simple, and the way you did it, it was so quick that I couldn't really catch it. You lost me at the double knot, actually. But yeah, it just complements the look and the colors that you chose. It seems to fit right on with her her dress right now.
Yes.
Okay. Now we're talking about scarves, but there's also long scarves as well as short scarves. There's different types of scarves, right? How do you choose the right one for the right occasion, and what are some tips on that?
Right, so firstly, there's different sizes of scarves. There are mini scarves like these, which work really well together as a cute neck scarf when you're wearing casual outfits. Then the longer scarves, I think, work really well together with semi-formal outfits or sort of wears that show a little bit of the neck.
And even with jeans, I think it goes well with it.
Yep, it can go together with both casual and formal outfits. And then if you've got those extra large rectangular scarves that you don't know what to do with them, I think they work really well when you fold them in half lengthways and drape it across your shoulders like a shawl.
Oh, like exactly how it's shown on the mannequin there.
Yeah, just like this. It's really elegant and classy.
Okay, it does look great.
There's also many different designs of scarves as well. So if you look at the designs, it really has to match your own outfits. Really important to do that. So if you have a look at these scarves over here, these scarves have really bright colors. Obviously, if you're going for a more flamboyant look, you want to go for bright colors, bold prints, and also let's not forget that floral colors and patterns never go out of style.
But Jennifer, I usually just stuff my scarves inside my closet, but is there a good way to store them for the next season?
Yep, definitely. Well, firstly, the most important thing about storing scarves is that you want to let them air dry as much as possible so that you can allow the moisture to leave and it will retain the shape as much as possible. So my advice is to place it on a hanger, but even better than that, my little tip today is that you can use these simple rings to hook your scarf through.
All right, well, sounds good. This seems to be pretty self-explanatory, but unfortunately we are out of time to show our audience about that. But thank you for joining us, Jennifer, for showing us all these great looks with scarves, and we'll see you again. And that's going to do it for our edition of Korea Today.
We'll see you back here tomorrow.